right, welcome everybody to episode 107 of the Fuel Pond. And guys, we're going to get right into it because F1 kind of got right into it this past weekend. Sainz to Williams. Eric, what do you got for me, man? Oh, he's muted.
So it just seems weird, right? Carlos at Williams, why would he go there? Other than just being in F1, there has to be some form of incentive there.
I've been racking my brain all weekend, man, and today
I hope, as a Williams fan, I think they may have secured Adrian Newey.
Wait, what? Okay, because I haven't heard that. So,
well, what else would draw someone like Carlos Sainz to Williams?
Well, I know we talked about it on last week's episode, and we literally had ruled Williams completely out. I feel like a horse's ass right now. And now he's on Williams.
But a couple of you hit some dead on too. Ocon to Haas, Mikey got, I think it was. Yeah. There were a few others that were dead on. But you have to understand, going from the Scuderia to Williams, other than pay, what else is there? And I don't think Carlos is too concerned about pay. He wants a car. And I think he's been told that the car's coming, and here's why the car's coming.
Well, that, and they did apparently offer him an absolute F ton of money.
Who is he?
Carlos Sainz.
Okay.
There was a fresh article.
Have you heard the rumor on what Newey's being offered from Williams?
Well, it would have to be, I mean, like God level money, because I know Lawrence Stroll offered him the damn house. So,
yeah, like it's going to be larger than any driver's salary has ever been.
Well, Hamilton's is $65 million, so that's a lot.
That's dollars, not euros, but yeah. So in the Euro world, which is how this exists. See,
that makes sense.
Boca Chuck.
It's like ESPN when they have the analysts walking in the background behind them.
Yeah, right. Yeah. See,
from the newsroom. This just in.
Go ahead, Mikey.
I've said it before, that watching James Vowles, that he's up to something. He's playing a long game.
He ain't stupid.
I compared him to Zach Brown before, and I was like, Zach Brown kind of played the long game, and now he's getting the results. James Vowles is kind of giving that same vibe, but he's cooking something.
And James has a whole lot to do with it, because Doralton, the American subsidiary that purchased this, is in the position to spend whatever amount of money they choose to spend. They have the money to spend. It's just a matter of choice. And I think they all the problems, and said, you don't have a budget, go get them. If you get the contract signed, we'll pay them. Because those 3 or 4 key team members are outside the cost cap.
Plus,
he's just come across as, with all the problems Williams has had being in the back, James Vowles has always seemed confident that.
Well, even when James was a car engineer,
there we go.
15 years ago, I had faith in the guy. I knew he was a talented guy. I've known who James Vowles is for a very long time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He gnashed his teeth at, with Braun and with Toto and those guys. He's come up behind a lot of strong.
Go back and watch the Braun movie.
Yes.
And you'll learn something about James Vowles. Yeah.
What do you think the percentage shot is that Newey ends up at Williams, if you had to put a percentage on it?
Oh, right now, 50-50.
Yeah.
At this point, there's only 2 options left. There's not 3.
And let's broach the topic of, if Newey doesn't go to Williams,
where does he go?
Well, I don't want to talk about him yet, but if he doesn't go to Williams, how are they going to keep Sainz?
But see, you say don't want to talk about him yet, but that's the talk.
Yeah.
That's the draw. Adrian Newey is the hottest name in Formula One right now, other than maybe Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
Period. End of story.
But yeah, I mean, if he doesn't go there, though, now we've just got Sainz at Williams with whatever they're going to put together.
to convince Sainz,
that's
there's
going to be
there's something other than money that convinced Sainz to sign.
That's right, Mikey. And that's what I'm saying.
These guys
they had
to
hang a carrot out there that said, "Look, I know you're coming to drive for fucking Williams, but here's why you're coming here."
James Voles opened up like, "Look what we got coming."
That's right. That's right.
Gave him a peek.
That's right.
You know what?
That's right.
Now I will
now let's look back to 2007. A young Lewis Hamilton enters the sport for McLaren, almost wins his first world championship in 2007, and then steals it from Felipe in the most horrendous way at the end. There's no question he won it, but then sits there for a while and nothing happens, and he moves. And when he moves, if you remember the Top Gear episode, Jeremy Clarkson sat there and he looked at him and he said, "Isn't that kind of like moving from Manchester United to West Ham?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And look what happened. He threw down 6 more drivers' world championships, 7 more constructors' world championships. His teammate won a world championship against him, his best friend since he was a kid. And everybody said he was making the worst decision he'd ever made, going to the slowest team around. And on top of that, that was a new team. And today we're talking about Williams, which is a proven team that's been around, that has more world championships and race wins than only 2 other people, and that's Ferrari and McLaren.
Well, they got like 16, don't they?
It's a shitload. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
there's a fuckload. Yeah, I mean, Williams has really, really torn up Formula One in its day, and the way they did it with the budget they did and what Frank did, running the business out of a phone booth on the street for the first year. Yeah. I mean, it was incredible. That's what I love about Formula One, is seeing independents like that come up there and challenge works teams. And I hope we can see that again. And I hope the fact that we saw Carlos Sainz signed is an indicator that maybe Adrian is coming too.
Yeah, and the car is not inherently bad. Albon has shown signs of greatness in it. It seems to be better in the straights, obviously. I mean, it's got some.
I think there's just fundamental problems in the business that's inefficient and makes things harder to do than it should be.
Agreed.
And I think you remember James talking about when he first came in there and he found out that they were tracking all of their parts inventory on a fucking Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And he was like, "This can't happen anymore. There's software for this that tells you what to do every day instead of you trying to figure it out."
And they probably don't have the bench strength in a lot of key job positions. I mean, you're probably looking, they may be 1 or 2 deep.
That's why they're looking to hire an Adrian Newey.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably a lot of it. Mike, you got anything else on that?
No.
I mean, it's a done deal. I mean, he's.
Do you want to see it, Mikey? You want to see it? You want to see Newey at Williams go from the highest team to the lowest team and then watch him fucking work it up?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of exciting. You think, just like we talked about, something's cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And something's going on there.
This is the most exciting Formula One has been in the past, off the cuff, 10 years.
Well, I don't think there wasn't anybody, at least involved in this podcast, that's listened to it or been on it, that didn't think Max Verstappen wasn't going to just run away with it this year. At the beginning of the year, I've looked back at my notes from our previous episodes.
Look at what we all said.
We all did. We all look like we all got egg on our face right now because we all thought.
Yep.
I remember, like, I literally in my notes, I had a bullet statement that literally said Max is going to win 2/3 of these races, and then maybe Ferrari will get one, and maybe McLaren will get one, and that was in my notes.
We were thinking Max could run the table.
Yeah. Yeah. And Eric's right. It has turned in probably to the most exciting Formula One season since, man, I don't know, 2005.
Well, you made a great analogy earlier, Jay. You said it's that these last 2 races have kind of been like watching IndyCar.
Yeah.
You don't know who's going to win.
Yeah, and we had 6 seconds between the top 10 drivers.
I love that. I said exactly that thing to Chuck as we watched this last race. I said, it's like watching IndyCar. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And even when Russell says he's going to stay out and it looks obvious, okay, now he's definitely staying out, even after that, you're like, you don't know what's going to happen.
And the funny thing was, as soon as Russell said, I'm staying out, and Hamilton was 4.9 seconds behind him. I'm like, what an idiot.
Yeah.
Hamilton's going to catch him.
But did he?
He did, but Russell.
But he didn't. He never could have got past him.
Oh, no, I didn't say he could have got past him. He caught up to him. There was a couple times where he was in his gearbox, but the thing was, Russell was getting an excellent launch out of LaSource, and Hamilton wasn't. And it was allowing him to be that, because they figured out that gap on the Kimmel Straight needed to be less than 0.5 if you were going to use DRS to overtake. But every
0.05.
time,
0.05.
Yeah, sorry. But every time Russell got up there, it was 6 or 7. So there was just no way. Hamilton could never make
but let's look at the math there. That's 10 times what you need it to be.
Yeah.
That's an entire magnitude.
Yeah.
That's an issue. And while Lewis was on better, younger tires, he's also in dirty air, and George is sitting out there in perfectly clean air on nice durable tires.
Yeah.
And the only reason that what do you remember what Oscar said earlier in the race? He says clean air is king.
Yeah, he said,
and he dropped a second and a half a lap.
Yeah.
Getting clean air instead of sitting behind somebody. It's a big deal. It scrubs off your fronts. Your fronts wear off early. When your fronts wear off early, you start trying to turn the car with the rears. The rears start spinning. The rears start overheating. Then you start going, oh shit, what am I going to do? There's something about being a racing car driver that this season has, I think, reminded everyone on the grid of.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to be easy. Nothing's going to be just car over car. We're going to see legitimate strategy, legitimate tire usage, legitimate, I hate to say it, like Toto made the comment to Russell about the tire whisperer, which is just such a, I'm not going to use it.
It was a phone in.
It was, yeah. It was
a phone in line for sure. But a couple things still I want to hit on that were weird. Go ahead, Mikey. Sorry,
if you want to something while we're on Lewis and George, I want to kudos to them the way they played it. Lewis got up to George just in time to use DRS to protect himself from Oscar. So
and I was they could have
battled back and forth and put themselves at risk. They didn't do anything stupid and secured the 1-2.
Yeah, the bigger threat was always Oscar, because he was coming hard and fast.
But that finish, talk about the season. What was it? 1.17 seconds.
Yes,
the top three
for the top three.
Yeah,
and it was something like 6.7 seconds for the top 7 or 10 or something like that. I can't remember what it was. It really doesn't matter at that point. But yeah, and so my thing with the whole Lewis Russell bit, you heard the pieces about, hey, he probably was underweight on that DQ because he lost tire rubber, and that very well may be the case, and it could have been something else. But you also had the conspiracy nuts out there, the pro George Russells of the world.
There's one.
Definitely, there's one in our
the Chads.
There's one in our crew for sure. But talking about, well, have they been doing this constantly to keep and just hoping they don't get caught, so that keeps Hamilton behind Russell? So that's obviously the conspiracy there, because it's obvious that Lewis is not as much in the know as he used to be when it comes to Mercedes, and he does get his little tiny roast in his little post comments when he was like, I couldn't get up there. It was unfortunate. What can you
understand? Lewis announced his departure from the team almost if not basically a full year ahead of the time. That never happens.
Yeah. And I don't disagree with what you're about to say.
And as soon as you announce that, they put you on gardening leave.
Yeah.
And that means you don't get shown the new cool shit for next year.
Yeah, and
you get put on the back of the setup tray. They don't do it that way, and that's one thing that I've been concerned about with Newey is like, is he going to be forced into a gardening leave contract of some sort? And if he is, then how are they going to gain $50-something million a year worth of value out of him in the first year without cheating?
That's a good point.
This is going to be interesting, because if Newey goes where we well, I won't say we, but where I think he's going to go, which is Williams. I think the Ferrari thing is done. I don't think that's happened. And
Yeah,
I
as much
think
as I
that's
hate it, I agree
well,
with you.
well, but Carlos is at Ferrari currently.
Yeah.
He would have known if Newey signed.
Yeah.
He knew that he didn't, and he didn't pursue anything there and went straight to where Adrian went. That's my belief. We'll see.
It's true. We
There's
also
some,
got to talk about. Go ahead. Sorry,
There's
Mikey.
some late night meetings in a parking garage dressed in trench coats.
No, Mikey, you're 100% right. And he just had to wait until that gravy train fed the information down to him for him to understand where he was at in the grand scheme of things. And then he went, okay, now I know where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
So now that we know Sainz is going to Williams, and we know that Sir Lewis, sorry, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be disrespectful, is on gardening leave with Mercedes.
Correct.
And we have seen Kimi Antonelli in the paddock pretty much at every race. But have you ever seen him so much up Toto's ass as you did this weekend? Which begs the question: is he going to get that Merc contract and probably be the youngest driver in history?
He's already got it. He's already got it.
I agree.
It's a done deal. It's not even worth talking about. It's a done deal. Yeah. And on top of that, he hasn't licked Toto's asshole anywhere near as deep as George Russell did. And you know that.
Oh shit.
He is Toto's baby though.
Oh yeah.
He is right there all the time.
Yeah.
What are those little things you carry a baby around? What is it called?
I did an interesting Google experiment the other night regarding Kimi Antonelli.
Yeah.
I tried to figure out who his manager was.
Okay. Is it
I
Burnett?
can't figure it out. No, I can't figure it out.
Because I saw him show.
No, I can't figure it out. What does that tell you?
Well, it tells you a lot of things, I think. But
no, it tells you his manager is Toto Wolff.
Yeah. Well, yes, definitely. You could go with that. But the weird thing was this weekend during the podium celebration, they show Antonelli like jumping up in some Mercedes guy's arms, basically, because
he won the race.
He probably needed nappy time. And
he won the fucking race.
This was at the F1 race.
I know. Oh, I get you. I got you.
He jumps up in the guy's arms, and then the next thing they show is Mark Burnett crying over there. He got tears down his face. So I wonder if it's Mark that is taking over his management duties. But
no, so George Russell's manager was Toto when he was.
I was going to say Toto tends to take when he takes people under his wing, they become his guy.
Well, you have to understand
a year.
Okay, so the best way to understand who's going to be somebody's manager is to look at the ownership shares of Formula 2 teams.
Yeah, there you go.
For real.
I agree.
It's Fred, it's Toto, it's Flavio, it's Mark Webber, it's I'm out of ideas there, but you get the point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was a big deal. Another thing I wanted to talk about, just because it was weird to me, not so much from a Checo standpoint, but from a Lando standpoint. So the race kicks off. We get to turn one. I mean, Checo went wide. I get that, but Lando looks like he just literally forgot he was racing or something.
Mikey, didn't you and I talk about this in the pre-show, in the lounge? Lando doesn't know how to start for shit.
He's worse than Leclerc for converting.
He just keeps fucking it up. Bottom line. He's worse than Leclerc. That's saying something.
I said it last week. It's like he's looking for Max.
Yeah.
He is.
But this week,
that dude's got a grade A chip on his shoulder for his friend.
Well, yeah, but you got to understand how rough would it be to see your friend just sit there and bash your head in for 5 years?
Yeah, true.
You're going to have a little bit of animosity, friend or not. It's called Nico Rosberg, Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
I mean, the best of friends for more than half their life until that championship year.
Yeah, that's true.
It's crazy.
But Mikey, I still don't know what happened to Lando. I watched it 2 or 3 times and I thought he was all good, and then all of a sudden he's not.
He had plenty of room.
What? Yes, he did.
Yeah.
It's like he looked back for a second to see where Max was. And
I think he followed Checo, honestly. I think he's like, I'm just going to follow Checo through this turn.
Yeah.
And Checo went wide, so Lando went wide. It was just so weird. He lost 3 spots.
Yeah.
Hamilton got up there ahead of Alonso and shot into that gap. And, man, it was over after that. Was it. That was Lando's race right there, 7 seconds into the race.
I can explain it in 3 words. Ambition exceeded adhesion.
You've got 2 really good phrases. That's a good one. I'm going to put that one down. I'm going to plagiarize the shit out of that. But
as you
vectored thrust was the other one.
Somebody.
Vectored
that rally.
Rally racing is just vectored thrust.
Yeah, it is.
So the other one, and Mikey, this is not going to be a good topic probably for you, and I know you're going to let me have it, but I'm going to keep coming back to it because for driving that particular car, and the car I'm talking about is the number 3 Visa Cash App RB car. In that car, Danny Rick did an amazing job this weekend. Unfortunately, his teammate, who's now finished behind Danny, I think 7 races in a row, maybe 8, maybe 12. Anyway, Danny finishes up with the solo point at the end because he got pushed into 10th. But, Yuki couldn't. I mean, I get Yuki started with a 67 grid penalty. I get that.
Oh, by the way, did you guys hear
in the
pit when the guy told him what? I don't know if it was Buxton or who it was, but Yuki was in the press corral.
Yeah.
And they said, "So Yuki, you're with all the power unit and parts changes, your total grid penalty is 60 places." And you just see this poor little bastard go white, and he goes, "Oh, Jesus."
No, I did not see that.
It's on YouTube. It's magnificent.
I'll have to
You
look
got to
that
see
up.
it.
That's great.
He's like, "What?"
But, guys, I want to circle back to the Lando Checo thing and take Lando out of the equation. We've got to talk about Checo. How long can Red Bull do this, man? How long can Horner keep defending it and saying we're keeping him? Today, there were rumors
as long as the money holds up.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know that's always the argument. Lord knows I've made that argument a million times.
But he's got to score a few points in the championship. I mean, come on.
Yeah, they are racing with one driver right now.
Yeah, straight up one driver for sure.
And Horner said it best. He's like, we definitely can't have a driver starting P2 and finishing P8 in this car.
No.
And they can't. And it was all his fault. There was nothing that caused him to go to 8th other than him. Plus he blocked that. He was giving Lando or Piastri a tow at one point, wasn't he, Orlando?
For every Formula One driver that you love and think is the baddest son of a bitch on the face of the earth, there's going to be a day where it's his day, and it's time for him to hang it up.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate reality is, I believe for Checo, it's time to hang it up. Yeah. And that pains me to say that. I love Checo. I love seeing his
I did too when he was
climb,
younger, man.
And he worked his ass off to get to where he's at, man. And he's been there for better than a decade. And
he was in shit cars for a long time.
I love him, but I think the honest to God, unfortunate reality is that it's Checo's time. And do I think Danny Rick's the guy to go into that seat? Again, as much as I emotionally want that to be true, no, probably not. I'd rather see Yuki in that. I think Yuki would do more with that seat than Danny would. And I think Max is a short timer at Red Bull too. I think the relationship with his dad and Helmut is degrading, and
now they've curfewed his sim racing.
Every relationship in that garage is degrading.
You're right.
Yeah,
absolutely, Mikey. Of course.
That's what happens when you get to the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
There's only one place to go from the top, and that's down.
Eat them up.
Yeah,
mountains eat them
up. And to be fair, that goes for every single Formula One team that's been in that same position. Williams, when they had their run, Ferrari when they had their run, McLaren when they had their run, Mercedes when they had their run.
How much bitching did Horner do about Mercedes on those 7 years that they dominated? And he had just dominated for 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he's the guy. Now it's like, oh my God, they can't deal with it. So yeah.
There's only so much time you can put into this thought process of who will and who won't when it comes to F1. But I tend to look at, especially, in hindsight, I tend to look at where's the money going.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see some real dangerous stuff out of Williams and Audi, the current Kick Sauber team. I think those two are going to do things that they haven't done in a while. It may take them 2 years to get there, but they're sure spending the money. And then you look at the current World Championship constructors standings, and you start to look at movement that has not had any sort of relevance within the past 4 or 5 years. That there is a legitimate fight for second, third, not really fourth, but second and third for sure. These are big dollars, big dollars. If McLaren does well, considering the amount of money they received from last year and the results they've created with that small amount of money, and then give them a good result from this year in the commercial rights dollars, the TV dollars. It's going to be a show, man. It's going to be a show.
Nobody really says anything, but I'm one of those guys that looks at cars, and their bevy of sponsors this year is absolutely stellar. I'm used to seeing maybe a couple of big names on there, but for most part, smaller when you're talking about.
I agree.
We're talking about multi millions of dollars, but this year, I mean, it's Jack Daniels and it's Coke and it's DeWalt and these are big companies.
Fortune 50s, not Fortune 500s.
Correct. And I think they're going to bring it home, and it's
I think so too.
It's definitely going to see a good payoff. And as much as I'm not a huge, McLaren's my New York Yankees in Formula One. I don't like them, but they're necessary. They're the necessary evil to Ferrari. Ferrari being my Red Sox. You can't have the Red Sox Yankees rivalry without the Yankees.
So you're a Boston guy?
Yes, huge.
Boston.
But and that's fine. You're definitely entitled. I don't judge you.
I'm not talking about the Scuderia. I'm talking about Boston.
I get it. It's understandable. But one thing I also, Mikey, did you have?
Well, what's funny, Eric, is if you compare championships, Ferrari would be the Yankees.
That's true.
Not for very long, though.
That's true.
So, if you look at who the Sox are, or who I don't know enough about baseball to know who's like the number 2, 3, 4 in World Series wins, but
I don't think the Red Sox have top 10.
Here's what I love about Formula One.
No.
So how many MLB teams are there currently?
62.
32. Okay.
Yeah.
We have 20.
Yeah.
Which really just means 10.
Correct.
And we see movement through the ranks far faster than baseball has ever thought of.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Someone can go from 0 to hero in a heartbeat because, one Grand Prix win is like winning a conference championship I don't know what that is in baseball, but it's, dog years. I like that, 7-1 or something.
Wow. I mean, baseball, they play, it's 54 times 362 games, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy.
That's 6 times.
When you think about it from an athletic team standpoint, a sports team standpoint, the amount of times that these guys have to react is greatly reduced. You compare it to any stick and ball sport. You compare it to, really any other American motorsport, there's no equal to the you must perform, and if you don't, there is a penalty.
Yeah, the gravitas on F1 is immense.
It's huge. It's huge
for every race.
People don't realize how important that one place, from 7th to 6th place in one race is for a team like a Haas or a Kick Sauber or that's tens of millions of dollars at the end of the year.
Yeah, when I always laugh when somebody's like, "Well, you only got 1 point."
That could be the difference between an entire place in the championship.
Yeah.
The same thing I say about fucking Lando at Hungary with Oscar. If Lando loses the world championship by 7 points or less, Zach Brown and Andrea Stella need to get kicked square in the dick.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually put that on the ticker last week. I think it was 6 points or less, but
I was watching. No, it's 7. I correct. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But, I mean, that'd be super unfortunate.
Just
but
kidding.
I want to talk about, because I want to call a duck, and this time it's my case. I normally have a penchant for picking on this guy.
Well,
but
no,
he did well this weekend, and I've got to talk about Esteban Ocon.
Okay, but do you mind if I have a penchant for normally picking on somebody, but this week it really matters?
Yeah, sure.
There's this guy named Jay.
Okay.
And he's 50.
That poor son of a
bitch. I was hoping he'd work on that and try to get it down to 49 before the start of the show, but it just didn't work out.
No, I'm already leveled up, dude, as of 9:15 this morning.
In case nobody else knows. Oh, 9:15? Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
I'm 6:29.
Yep. As my mother called me this morning to let me know.
Happy birthday, brother.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
It's been a long time coming. It's been around 50 years.
Give or take. Yeah.
Give or take. So right now I don't feel any different. I do feel like that late as my life progresses and the older I get, I will say this is my piece of advice is you start having to purchase the F's that you want to give because there's no longer any left. You don't have any in the tank. I've noticed now that I just kind of say what's on my mind, and that's the way it goes. And I called my dad to talk to me about this morning. Of course, his first thing was, "Hey, son, I'm 72, so you still got 22 more years to go to get to here." I was like, that sounds crazy, but it'll be tomorrow. I mean, you know how it is. The clock is
it goes way too fast.
Yeah, it does.
Way too fast.
But thank you all very much, and for all my other friends that have done some wonderful things for me this weekend. I really appreciate it. It's an honor to be your all's friend, so I appreciate that very much.
Likewise.
But that being said, let's talk about
fucking Ocon.
Esteban Ocon. First off, let's take Esteban Ocon completely out of the picture and talk about how beautiful that Wolverine Deadpool livery was.
Yeah, I want to talk about Friday for Alpine.
Which one of you was it that said it was a Haas livery and I corrected you without you hearing me?
It wasn't me.
I think it might have been. Okay, sorry. Distraction. Move on.
The livery.
Okay.
Friday. Go and tell us about the livery they show up with.
That thing was fucking bitching.
You're talking about the Wolverine Deadpool, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That thing, I loved it. It was 90% Deadpool and only 10% Wolverine, but that 10% Wolverine made it. Those claw marks on the side.
Did y'all hear the news today?
No, I did not.
The largest opening day box office of any movie in history.
Wow.
And tell me I'm wrong. Have you not seen Ryan and Hugh in every single different feed of social that exists right now? They are spending so much money on promotion.
Oh wow,
that's out of control.
We were on our way to the movie, and Rob was talking about it, saying, "Man, they were in Hot Ones this week doing."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're on,
and they were on
Hot Ones is actually how we found out about it.
Yeah, so it was nuts. You're right; they were all over the place,
everywhere. They must. I want to know how much money they spent on the promotion and how much they got back from it. Maybe they ended up a little upside down. Who knows?
I don't think they cared. It was still really, really wonderful.
Well, we could equate that to Formula One team exercise, and we could call it Williams. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. But anyway, the livery was great, Mikey. That's my takeaway from it. I wish they were going to run it the rest of the year because I hate their regular livery.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say about Alpine. You know, they showed up Friday, FP1. They get the livery. Awesome. One of their cars, it doesn't run normal.
Yeah.
Then the news starts popping. They're leaving Renault. That's official.
Wait, what?
Yeah. They're going to be
They literally are Renault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're dropping that power unit and going to go with the Mercedes.
Wait, what?
Then after all that,
Alpine
news,
Mercedes?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Alpine is Renault.
That's a contradiction. That's an oxymoron.
That's what they said.
That's like government intelligence.
The entire name will probably change. They were talking about it Friday. Really, both practices they were talking about it. So they were talking about all that, and then their team principal.
Oh, Bruno Fannin? He's gone.
Yeah.
Hey, how about Mattia?
Yeah.
Isn't that cool? I love that.
Yeah, that was actually going to be you already broached the subject.
Bonotto?
I was going to ask how long do you think it is before Bonotto shows up at a race?
Well, he just got hired. He's running a team, bro.
Oh, I know he's at Audi, but I wonder how long it's going to be before he shows up at the Kick Sauber paddock. Bruno Fannin confirms Alpine Renault plans to drop power unit operations.
Bruno's
fired.
The guy. Yeah, well, I understand that, but that's how he knows.
It says outgoing Alpine boss Bruno Fannin
Yeah.
confirmed on Friday
Exactly.
to shut down their power unit operations.
But look, how many times have they done that over the years? How many times have they found another good replacement? These other teams want to get more engines into their customer teams because it gives them more development, more budget, more time, more dyno work, more data. You know, anytime they can build more engines and have someone else pay them to do it, sure, sounds like a good day.
I'm just saying they can no longer be called Alpine, for sure.
No, they can't. No, well, no, you know how the naming goes. So, like, I'm sure you remember well back in the day when there was things like BMW Sauber.
Yeah, those were some weird days, though.
But it was the only thing that had that package in it, it still wasn't a works team.
Yeah.
So there are odd. I mean, the current Red Bull team, as we just watched at Goodwood today for the 20th anniversary of Red Bull, was it kind of reminded me that this is these are the origins of the Stewart Grand Prix team.
Yeah.
Which then became Jaguar, so it was run by Jackie Stewart and Paul Stewart, actually, Jackie's son. Really, Paul, not Jackie. But and then it transferred to none other than Bobby Rahal and was run by him as the Jaguar F1 team for some years, and then was purchased by Dieter Mateschitz at Red Bull and became the Red Bull F1 team out of nowhere. And they're like, what are these fucking guys doing? And then they hire, at the time, the youngest Formula One principal to ever exist, Mr. Christian Horner. He was 29 years old when he became the principal of this thing. You got to look at how many years he's been there and how old he currently is. That man has been running that place for about, a third of his life.
Yeah.
It's, and he still bagged Jerry while doing it. What the fuck?
Yeah, I'm still a little bit pissed off about that.
Yeah, I know. That's why I threw it in, because I knew it was a bad subject for you. That's just, that's a little love kiss from me.
I mean, he had a choice of 5 Spice Girls. He had to take mine. It just really makes me mad.
I'm a sporty kind of guy, but Ginger's right up there.
I guess he really only had a choice between 4 because Beckham already had one.
Well, that's kind of what I was saying.
Yeah, that sucks. Anyway, such is life.
But yeah, let's be real. That that hot wife from the Spice Girls
Yeah.
is Adrian Newey. And that's what the teams want right now.
Yes.
And
right.
and they want that hot wife that everybody's looking for, that's on the market, and they know she's on the market, and they're gonna bag that girl, and they're gonna give her as much money and as bigger ring and whatever they need to give her.
Thank you for the innuendo laden fuel pods.
I could have gone a completely different way with that. There were parts of me that said you should say this, and I said don't say that.
Yeah. I wish you would have TikToked that one. That would have been great. We're going to have to clip grab that one, throw it up. That'd be funny.
Oh,
People will be like, are they talking about, what are they talking about, racing?
Well, tell me it's not true.
I'd also like to add that this whole time we've still not said one word about Esteban.
Back then, Esteban Ocon.
Rightly so, as it should be.
And I get
you know what? Sometimes that's just the way the world works. Esteban shouldn't be mentioned. That's just the way it goes. He's going to Haas. Great. All right, we're done. Thanks. Next.
Trying to be nice, talking about, man, he had a good weekend. He didn't get in any trouble.
No,
all of his overtakes were clean. I mean, it was a really weird weekend for him. But anyway, Mikey, you had something about the Scuderia.
Hey, Scuderia Ferrari, the first team in F1 to amass 10,000 points.
That's right.
Pretty big milestone.
That's huge.
You know, it just says, you know, they've been one of the top dogs since the beginning.
And I know this is going to sound weird because A, you're bringing up Scuderia Ferrari. I'm not.
They're the Yankees, man.
And B, I'm gonna ask though and be the devil's advocate for my own team and go, I wonder what the scoring system was like though when they first started in 1950.
Okay, so you're both of you are completing my own sentences in my head right now.
I bet.
So, Mikey, what is the most successful Formula One team in the history of Formula One?
I don't know. If I had to guess, I would say Ferrari.
It is.
Okay. What is the only team to have entered every single Formula One Grand Prix to ever exist since 1950?
Ferrari.
Yes.
Correct.
And I know that because I'm actually reading a book about Ferrari and F1 right now.
This Ferrari is F1. You cannot say one and not say the other. Ferrari exists for one reason and one reason only. The only reason they sell street cars is to fund a business that builds Formula One cars to go win the world championship. That's it. That's it.
Absolutely correct.
There is no other company on the planet that can claim that. McLaren is the closest that could possibly claim it, but they have not made that clear. They are separate companies. Streetcar, racing car, not the same, right? They try to say this. But Ferrari will straight up tell you, we sell streetcars to win Formula One races, period.
Tell you what Ferrari means, you know, I keep saying they're the Yankees, but
they are.
Back in my day when my son was younger and I would coach Little League, and even today when I talk to younger kids playing baseball out on the baseball field, I'm like, when you're encouraging them and you're trying to make them feel good, like, you know, it's, man, you're going to grow up and play for the Yankees.
Yeah.
Like you're going to grow up and drive for Ferrari.
Yeah. It's the same thing with racing. Like, you're going to drive for Ferrari.
Let's look at it this way. The most successful Formula One driver in history, after he achieved that status, decided, I'm going to go drive for Ferrari before I quit. That's Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
And there's something about being in red. It just.
Well, look at the pull it has on. Look
I
at
just
the pull it
can't.
has on so many drivers. I mean, you look at Fangio and you look at Schumacher and you look. I mean, everybody, man.
It doesn't matter. I mean, you have to look at the totality of it. It's every single driver. It's not just the ones you mentioned. It's all those and the ones in between.
Yeah, there's a lot of in betweens too, and I know I'm not doing them.
There's a ton. Well, and that's not why I mentioned that. My point is that people who haven't been Formula One fans for decades, don't understand what Ferrari is to Formula One. It is the sport. If Ferrari flourishes, the sport flourishes.
Yeah.
that didn't come out quite the way I hoped it would with the belch.
It still hit.
You know,
It hit hard.
I am Tifosi, believe it or not.
Yeah, I know you are. I know you are. And yeah, but I think the best point you made was that, Ferrari and F1 are, it's a symbiosis. Same with Pirelli.
It is a symbiotic relationship, 100%. Yes. But what is good for one is good for the other. If one dies, the other dies.
I definitely don't disagree with that. That's for sure. But it will be weird. Ways. I got to tell you, it will be weird. Speaking of power units and major players, Renault has been a major player on the power unit scene for a lot of years. And a lot of people don't realize that on the global scale, Renault is probably one of the biggest car companies in the world.
They're up there. Yeah.
To me, it's just mind blowing. Them not being in, and I get it. That's the works team. They could technically supply power units to other teams, and that very well may happen.
Which for the longest time they supplied engines, but no cars. They didn't have their own car. They just had an engine.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to say is that we might see a time where we go back to the, the 80s and the 90s where they're supplying power units that don't have a car. So that'll be weird, but it is what it is.
I guess we don't actually have one of those right now, which is unusual because we almost always do.
Yeah.
So like going back just a little bit, you had Cosworth, with Lotus and HRT and Marussia.
Yeah.
Almost expansion teams, if you will, but they're all some product of what existed before. And I think that's the issue here is because what existed before doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And you're seeing such a huge changing of the guard between the drivers, the engineer, the only engineers and designers that are living are the top 2 or 3, there's so much young blood coming into F1 right now, driver wise, engineer wise, team crew member wise, guys changing the tire are getting younger.
Yeah.
And as you may know, Jay, I don't know if Mikey knows, each one of those guys that's on the car that has you're the right front tire check, that's not all you do. You have another job.
Oh yeah.
You're a full-blown engineer. You have to manage this entire part of the car. This is your part of the car. And if you have to tear it apart and replace it, they have to do it.
Is the expectation for these guys has grown immensely too, because even 2 years ago, if a car pulls into the pits and they're out in 3.2, we used to think that was a good pit stop. Now you're going to hear the broadcast crew say they're going to say, "Man, 3.2, they're really slow today," and I'm like. It wasn't 2 years ago where 3.2 was damn fast. And now if you're not hitting 2.2, 2.3, it's like, what happened? Guy was sitting there for an eternity.
And to be fair, 30 years ago, there wasn't a pit lane speed limit.
Yeah. Well, thank God for that, because there'd be people getting killed today.
Let's think about that for just a second.
Well, how many years has it been since they refueled in the pits until Schumacher
2009
when his car caught on fire?
2009.
Yeah.
2009.
Guys pulling the fuel pump.
Piastri's Jackman took quite the blow this weekend.
It wasn't Schumacher. That was Massa. That was Massa.
Great segue, Mikey. Oscar Piastri's Jackman took it right in the.
But hey, did he not take it like a champ?
He did, man. He
did. Operated the jack. Oh, he took it
while it was moving. Like it was hitting him, and he's like, bam.
Well, no, that's just a nice consequence to gravity.
Yeah.
But like you're talking about, that some bitch had to go through concussion evaluations, all that stuff.
Somebody was standing right there doing like, the camera's on you, don't rub it.
Oh, don't fuck it up. Don't fuck it up. Don't look like a pussy. All his buddies.
Yeah, that was wonderful, man. I thought that was kind of cool. And he even said it in his post-race interview. Piastri's like, yeah, I'm still working on this whole pulling in with the Jackman. We'll get it right here eventually.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. By the way, can we just say that I think preemptively, I'm gonna claim this preemptively that, and I'm calling like 10 years ahead of time, right? We might have somebody cooler, and when I say cooler, I mean more chill, unemotional, nothing than Kimi in Oscar Piastri.
Oh man, I was going to
That
tell you,
kid is so
put
fucking
together.
We're good.
Yeah.
No
His
up, no down, no
his
nothing.
interviews
This is
sound
just what we do.
His interviews sound like somebody that's been racing for you. I mean,
Well,
you
he
hear him
has
speak after a race
his
but
entire life.
I know, but I'm talking about like he sounds like he's been in F1 for 10 years.
Oh, I know. He just doesn't like his first win. He was like, "Oh, yeah, good job, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks." You know, there was no screaming, hooting, hollering, nothing. It was just, "Hey, yeah, okay, all right, good job."
Yeah, and as a fellow
thanks,
Australian,
you know.
if that was Danny would have been all over the place. Oh yeah.
Well, and let's be real. Let's be real. How many Australians are on the grid right now?
2.
Jay? No.
Danny and Oscar.
Yep. But we're gonna have to give Valtteri an honorary on this one.
Do we?
He's got a mullet.
Well, that's a fair point. He probably drinks Foster's too, so
He does. Well, no, nobody. No, he drinks VB.
But yeah, okay, we'll make him an honorary Australian. But
it's gotta be.
But yeah, you're right. Oscar's like, yep, the team did well out there today. It was a good win.
Just so nonchalant.
And we were able to catch up to the Red Bulls today, and blah blah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just very, very
Nothing.
even keel. I mean, he's probably a PR spin machine's best dream. As far as I know this guy's not gonna step a toe out of line.
At the same time,
I bet you he's
Twitter,
a PR nightmare.
His mom's losing her shit on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Can we talk about Nicole for a minute here? Can we? Just for a second?
Sure.
Nicole, if you're out there and you're single,
Hit me up.
I don't think she is. She tweeted out the other day a picture. She was like, "Hey, I was supposed to go out for drinks with the girls today, but," and then she showed there's a picture of Oscar holding up his trophy, and she's like, "This happened, and unfortunately, I'm going to have to deal with this."
Yeah. Nicole Piastri is hot.
Yeah. Yeah, way to go, Oscar. Good job there. Oh, wait, that's the other way around, I guess. But yeah, for sure.
On point.
Real quick, a couple quick actually, you guys already
couple big one. Kids.
Couple quick hits. I had a mark here that said it's a Mario, but you guys already covered that one because Bonotto is taking over at Audi. I'm pretty happy about it.
I love it.
When he's going to show up.
I'm happy about it.
Oh, I know
I
you
love
are.
Mattia.
Gone.
Yes.
So my question is Seidel still running race direction for Audi?
Yes.
Okay, so that makes sense, a lot of sense, because those two got on pretty well.
They still need a team principal. And Egon's got a buddy.
Well, he's already been hired. He's already been announced. He is not team principal.
Yeah.
He's going to be COO and CTO. I think.
He's going to be kind of more of a Zach Brown than a
right.
So they're going to need a team principal.
Well, but Zach is also a shareholder.
Yeah, they're going to need a team.
But that's because Zach purchased it with his own effing money.
Yeah.
Not was gifted it as part of the job, like Toto was.
Yeah.
Now to be fair, Toto bought extra on his own, which smart man.
That's
but
true.
They're non-advisory shares, meaning if I leave, I still keep them.
So last thing I want to talk about before we end the show, Mikey, did you have something? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just talking about the team principal.
Yeah, they still need.
They have a job opening there. Egon's got a buddy that's not doing anything.
That's
Gunther Steiner.
Do we see a
Gunther
return?
Steiner.
Which, Mikey, you're like the king of segues because I was literally going to segue into the Gunther Steiner Hamilton interview at the end of the race when Gunther's like, "Hey, so do you think you have a shot at the championship?" And Hamilton was like,
He looked at him like, "Motherfucker."
He was like, "No, we don't." Which You know, I
You're like,
thought
hey,
was
dumbass.
I thought it was wonderful, and it was a little bit on the nose, but it literally got me thinking about, the Hamilton legacy, and not that interview question, but he 10 minutes after that interview, he would have found out that he won the race actually, and it kind of went without fanfare at all. So here's a guy at Silverstone that wins a race, and he's the first person to do it after 300 Grand Prix, and now he's won 2. And it's not inconceivable that he could not, possibly win another 1 or 2 in the second half of the season. So, I mean, he's already how many Grand Prix wins is he at? It's already at
105.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So,
it's absurd.
Yeah.
Anybody that says Hamilton isn't the man just is a hater. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah. I'm not
anybody
a huge
that says Max,
fan, but
anybody
also
that says Max isn't the man, is a hater.
Absolutely.
Everybody has their time, and these boys are having their time. Max is currently having it. Hamilton has previously had it, and it looks like he might have another one.
Yeah, well, I would agree. I would say honestly that Max is not having a great time right now. There was a little bit of egg on the face about, is it possibly not that he's a great driver?
You're only leading the world championship by 70 points. You're having a rough year.
I didn't say I agree with it. I just said that's what's being said. And I don't agree with it. I absolutely think he is a GOAT potential.
He's already there, in my opinion, but okay.
But Lewis still has him, and
I'll tell you
pains
what,
me to say
Lewis,
that either one of them have it. But here they are.
I'm really enjoying this resurgence. A year ago,
it was so not the same thing.
Probably won't see Lewis win again.
We were just talking about second place.
That was another thing we all have our egg on our face on. I remember at the beginning of the year saying Lewis is never going to win another race, man.
Yeah.
Not in that fucking car.
Well,
I've never been happier to be wrong, because we literally
built a new car.
Yeah, and we literally have not a 4-way race for the championship. I'll cede that. But we do have a 4-way contention for Grand Prix wins in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I would definitely say Ferrari's on the back foot of those 4, because they've kind of backslid since Monaco, obviously. But they're still there. Sainz quietly had a great race this past weekend. Leclerc had a good race this weekend. But good's not going to do it when you've got 3 teams that are fucking setting blister paces out there and doing crazy shit with their strategy to ensure they win, and not giving a shit about which
Ferrari's. The quality of Ferrari's car and their finishing order don't have anything to do with each other.
Yeah.
Ferrari's finishing order has everything to do with that pit wall, and they just aren't getting it done.
I mean, at least they're putting all 4 tires on the car, Eric. So
well, we got to start somewhere.
Yes. So we're getting all 4 tires on. It's not a tricycle race. but yeah, you're right. I think it also starts in the back office with the pre-brief it starts at the top office. Yeah.
It's they're not getting it done.
Yeah, they're not. And it's hosing their drivers, which one of them doesn't give a shit anymore because he's leaving, but the other one's,
Well, but that bothers me, because I think the driver lineup should have been Carlos and Lewis.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. We talked about that.
I love Charles. I think he's a great kid. I know how he came up and why he came up, and I think all those things are the most wonderful things about motorsport. How those things can happen.
Right.
But Carlos earned it.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
And I'm always
Carlos
a huge fan
performed better end over end, time after time. He takes care of business in comparison to his teammate, because that's all you're ever really truly racing is your teammate.
Yes. Yeah, and my and Mikey knows this, and you probably know this, but my favorite drivers are always the ones that are students of their craft. The academics.
You love Logan Sargent.
The academics
and
of their
Lance
craft.
Stroll.
Fernando Alonso.
Lance Stroll.
Yeah, obviously Lance Stroll and Logan Sargent are right there. I think Lance.
I'm so glad I
about where
sat in
where
line
the nearest,
for 20 minutes to get you that hat that said
where the nearest surf break is.
where the nearest surf break is.
Yeah, I can hear Lance in the car now going, "Whoa,
oh my god,
dude.
hey dude,
dude, can we retire the car so I can hit the brakes?"
dude, it's like watching Point Break all over again,
But anyway, guys, we're over an hour. I got to get off here. I got to get to bed here shortly and chill out. But I got back to work tomorrow, so I took a 4-day weekend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But thank you all very much tonight. This was a wonderful episode for me. I enjoyed it.
Happy birthday, Jay.
Thank you, sir.
We love you.
We will be back. Actually, we're taking a summer break because we've been doing that every year with the F1 service. We won't be back till the 19th of August, which is the weekend or the Monday before Zandvoort, which is the Netherlands GP. So
that'll be good. Yeah.
So we'll be doing a Zandvoort preview starting on the 19th. So everybody enjoy the rest of your summer. We're definitely going to enjoy ours. And we will catch back up with you on August 19th. Thank you all very much.
Good.
Laters.